Now, with smartphones having such good image stabilization these days, is there really any need for a gimbal? If your phone delivers super smooth footage, then what's the point? This is a question that I get asked all the time, but the reality is gimbals do so much more than just stabilize your shots. So in this video, I'll be breaking down the reasons why you'd still use a gimbal over shooting handheld, plus give you some tips for taking your videos from looking like this to this. So this is the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's not the latest iPhone, but still has really good image stabilization. I can easily capture smooth, professional looking shots handheld, which is probably why I get comments on my videos like this. Ever heard of video stabilization? You just wasted your money on a gimbal. And I get it, to the untrained eye, all a gimbal does is give you smoother footage. Even if we rewind just a few years, that's all gimbals really did. In fact, this is one of my first ever smartphone gimbals. And yeah, all it really did is help me get slightly smoother footage, but times have changed, technology has evolved, and now gimbals come packed with features that go far beyond just stabilization. So to demonstrate this, I have got one of the latest smartphone gimbals. This is the Insta360 Flow Pro 2. We're going to take this out on location, I'm going to run through its features and show you exactly why a gimbal is still an absolute must-have for any smartphone filmmaker, even if you have great image stabilization. A big thanks to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. As always, all gear used in this video will be linked in the description below. Okay, now before we head out on location, let's just cover the basics and start with some simple reasons for choosing a gimbal versus handheld. And the first reason is that a gimbal will allow you to get a much better grip on your phone. A smartphone, especially when it's not in its case, is very fragile. If you drop this onto concrete, it will smash. I know this because I recently dropped my iPhone onto concrete and it smashed. Do not let this happen to you. Always have your smartphone in some kind of protective case like this one here. So not only does a gimbal give you much better grip on your phone, but it also means that you don't need to be touching your phone, so you can see your whole screen nice and clearly. A gimbal will also allow switching from horizontal to vertical much easier and smoother. The same with flipping it into selfie mode. Also, a gimbal has different modes allowing you to capture creative shots much easier compared to shooting handheld. For example, horizon lock keeps your horizon perfectly level so you don't even have to think about it. FPV mode allows for dynamic and immersive movements. Pan follow mode keeps your framing smooth and controlled. All of these modes give you more precision and versatility, letting you focus on the shot instead of stabilizing your camera. These are just a few simple reasons why you would choose a gimbal over shooting handheld, but we're really just scratching the surface here. Let's head out on location. My dog is here. Let's head out on location and I'll show you where this thing really shines. Okay, so let's use this car as our focal point, but first I'm just going to capture some shots handheld to show you the difference. Let's say, for example, we wanted to capture a shot low to the ground pushing forward. Doing this handheld can be incredibly tricky. I'm hunched over, I can't see what I'm filming, my framing is completely off, and this shot looks very shaky. Same again if I wanted to capture an orbit shot low to the ground. This shot is very difficult to shoot and doesn't exactly look professional. But now let's introduce a gimbal. A gimbal is going to make these shots so much easier. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take advantage of this built-in extension pole. This immediately eliminates having to hunch over to get shots closer to the ground. I'm also going to combine this with the gimbal's AI-powered tracking, or Deep Track 4.0 as they call it, and to do this, I'm simply going to draw a box around my focal point like this, and now the gimbal will keep the car in the center of frame. This makes capturing this shot almost idiot-proof. Look how good this shot looks, and this is straight out of camera. If we add some music and color grading, we now have this. Also, this doesn't just work for push-forward shots, this also works for orbits, or any time you want to keep your focal point in the center of frame. A particular favorite of mine is a mini jib shot, starting with the camera low to the ground and then rising up. A shot like this is incredibly difficult shooting handheld, but by using a gimbal with AI tracking, we now have a really smooth and professional looking shot. The AI tracking in gimbals these days is so good that you can literally capture shots blindfolded. Now, to help demonstrate this, I've got my dog Ted in the studio today. You may remember Ted from the special effects video we made a while back, and I've got Ted sat on the desk. Good boy, Ted, you're just going to stay there for me for a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a box around Ted. I'm going to hit record, and now I can close my eyes. I could do this blindfolded, I just don't have a blindfold. So look, I'm just gonna look the other way, you're gonna have to trust me. Now what I can do is I can move the camera from left to right. I'm gonna move the camera up and down, and the AI is gonna make sure that Ted stays in the center of frame. So this is really a remarkable feature, especially for those of you that struggle to keep your focal point in the center of frame. Good boy, Ted, you did very well. Have a little treat. There's a good boy. Now, this gimbal also has something that they call Pro Framing Grid, which basically means rather than having your focal point in the center of frame, you can choose where to place your subject by selecting one of these boxes. So if I wanted to capture a shot of Ted and keep him in the bottom lower left, for example, I would simply select this box here. And now when I move the camera, he will remain in this part of the frame. So AI tracking is incredibly useful if ever you need to keep your focal point in a certain part of the frame, but this is just one way to use it. Another way we could take advantage of AI tracking is if ever you're shooting solo and you need to capture shots of yourself. So let's say, for example, you're out on location, maybe you're shooting a travel video and you want to capture a shot of yourself walking through your location. By using gesture control, you can hold your hand up like this and the gimbal will not only start recording, but it will also track you. So you can now walk through your location whilst the camera follows. The tracking on this gimbal is really good, by the way. I can literally walk all the way around the gimbal a full 360 degrees and it will pan with me the whole way around. It will also tilt up and down. So this is just another reason why a gimbal is a great tool to have as a smartphone filmmaker. Also, I've been using this gimbal combined with the Insta360 app because this unlocks extra features, but you can also use this tracking in your phone's native camera app or any other of your favorite apps like the Blackmagic app, for example, FaceTime, Instagram, TikTok, and you can do this by using Apple's Dock Kit, which is another really useful feature. There are also other tracking features with this gimbal, like multi-person tracking, so it can track more than one person at a time within the same frame, as well as AI auto zoom. A very clever feature, this one, and not something I've seen in any other gimbal. AI auto zoom will automatically zoom the camera in or out depending on your subject's distance to the camera. So if your subject is further away, the camera will zoom in, and the closer your subject gets, the more the camera will zoom out, particularly useful for action sports or solo B-roll adventures. So as you can see, a gimbal does so much more than just help you get smoother shots. Gimbals are like having your own personal camera operator. Now, when investing in a gimbal, make sure that you get one that is small, compact, easy to travel with, but also comes with a ton of features to help you get the best shots possible. This one, for example, folds away nice and small so you can literally fit it in your pocket. It has a built-in tripod and it solves a problem that has been a real pet peeve for me for many years when it comes to small, compact gimbals like this, and that is its limited tilt range. In fact, I only mentioned this a couple of videos ago. The biggest downside, at least as far as I'm concerned, is its limited tilt range. If you've got a gimbal with limited tilt range, what this basically means is that you're going to struggle to get shots that start low to the ground and then lift up because this arm gets in the way, forcing the phone to face towards the ground like this. But Insta360 have solved this by introducing free tilt mode. So if I extend the extension pole and then turn this hinge like this, we're now in free tilt mode, meaning I can now capture shots low to the ground and lift up, and my phone will remain facing forward. This is a great way to capture more cinematic shots and add some serious production value to your videos. So those are just some of the reasons why I still carry a gimbal whenever I'm shooting using my smartphone. Yes, my phone has incredible image stabilization, which comes in very useful when shooting handheld, but a gimbal will allow me to get shots that just aren't possible when shooting handheld. I can capture shots that look smoother, easier, plus a gimbal will have a ton of features that can really help take your smartphone videos to the next level. So if you're looking for a smartphone gimbal to add to your filmmaking arsenal, I can highly recommend the Insta360 Flow Pro 2. I will link this in the description below. And if you'd like to learn some go-to gimbal moves for your next shoot, then be sure to check out these two videos here. But that's it from me and Ted. We will see you in the next video.